to the University of Zambia in 2009 and graduated in 2014. From there, I started my MBA, and my specialty is business leadership and sustainability in UK under the University of Manchester. Currently, I'm doing my dissertation. I'll be graduating mid next year. So, coming back to your question, I developed my business career when I was in grade 11 upon losing my mother, and I was sent to a boarding school. So they do a lot of rice in Chama, and then the road network in the past was very bad, especially in 2000, the same year that I went to Chama. So it's from that time that when we closed, I think I could save a little bit of my money, which my elder sister, our firstborn, was taking care of me after my mother died. That's how I moved to Chipata. And I could get some rice out of the same pocket money that she used to give me. I bring it to Chipata, and Chama rice is very tasty and marketable. And at times when I'm going for my holidays in Kitwe to join my father, I could go with the same rice, and I could fetch quite a lot of money. And then in Chama, they had challenge of sugar, baking powder, yeast, and so on. And I could again go with those items as I go back to school. So from that time, I've had the business mind, and I've continued doing business. But on the other side, I was also in formal employment. Immediately when I completed school in 2001, I completed school on the 22nd of November 2001 and started working with Zambia Leaf Tobacco Company as a clerk on the 1st of December in 2001. So I was going to school whilst working for Zambia Leaf Tobacco Company. I rose through the ranks and files from a clerk to a senior leaf technician. And from there, I also worked for Africa Leaf Tobacco Company that took over Zambia Leaf Tobacco Company when we had an internal liquidation. And around 2006, I worked for Tobacco Association of Zambia as an arbitrator, representing the farmers and also the buying companies. So I also have that background of working in formal employment. Maize as well as groundnuts and so on, and by that time it was quite marketable to engage in such businesses, and I think it's from there where I made the capital and thought I could equally become an employer. So I left formal employment in end of 2007, and I registered Andrich.
Wow. I think you have quite an amazing, especially academic, career. Would you tell us why is it important, for instance, for people to, go through their academic life before they venture into business? Is it important in your view?
Honestly speaking, yes and no. Okay. I would say yes, because if you are running your own business and you have certain academic qualifications or understanding, it will be much easier for you to understand your business, project growth, and also do thorough audit of your own in your own organization. And on the other hand, I was saying it's not a must that every successful businessman must be learned. Yes, I'm encouraging the young people to continue studying, but I also want to encourage those who did not have an opportunity to go to school. Of course, they can always get to school, but I want to say I have seen, and I have colleagues who have not made it academically, but they have ended up employing graduates and so on. So we shouldn't be discouraged to engage ourselves in business and to grow our businesses because of our humble academic background. So, but on a larger extent, I think it's very important for us who are in business to continue learning as well.
So then, if education is not extremely important, you can still do without it. What would you say makes a good businessman? What are the qualities that would turn a person into a good business person, that would in turn turn the business into a successful business?
I think for one to be a successful businessman, first of all and ultimately, you need to have financial discipline. You need to be very, very disciplined. And then secondly, you need to ensure that before you engage in a certain business, you get facts on the ground and also do your research. Before you even get into a business, you should ensure that you already know how viable the business is. You need to know your clients, you need to know the size of the clientele base, and so on. And ultimately, I think you equally need to ensure that you have a very good rapport with the people, because we have a small economy, as a matter of fact, and we rely on the people that we live with. So we need to ensure that we have a very good rapport with them if we are to get their support. And ultimately, I want to believe in the biblical saying that blessed is the hand that giveth. So I want to encourage my colleagues in business that we should always have a spirit to give back to the community, and we'll find that we'll have a big clientele base and we'll have a larger support from the general public, and above all, we'll have blessings from the Almighty God.
Great stuff indeed. So at this point, there are a lot of young people that are watching that want to venture into business. I've been sitting and thinking, oh, I would like to venture into business. For you, you are into transportation, you're into microfinance and so forth and so on. What informed your choices of businesses that you are in right now?
Thank you so much. I think what informed the businesses that I'm doing now is the exact point I told you about research. I did the research, and I've been changing my types of businesses from time to time. As I told you that when I was in formal employment, I think my major line of business was grain and tobacco. Then later on, I went into taxis. And way back, the taxis were making a very good profit here in Eastern Province, because Chipata was just growing and most districts did not even have taxis. So I started my business with one single taxi. And from the taxis, I realized that I was also, as you are aware, that we are an agricultural province. So I researched and found out that actually I can make more money if I could venture into transportation of farming inputs and so on. So I developed from taxi business. We realized that the taxi business was becoming flooded. Everybody was into the same business. So all in all, I can say I've been steadfast to move to the next business, and I've not been waiting to see which business is working out for a colleague of mine, but I've been out there to research and find out what is marketable at that particular moment. And then later on, we realized that the passenger business was also working on well, and we expanded from running trucks to also running Marco Polo buses. So we opened Dandridge Court Services in 2014, and we also realized that Zambia, or I should say the government, has an intention of connecting the rural to the CDBs and so on. So we got interested and knew that this is a country that is being built, so there will be massive infrastructure, there will be rural connectivity, there will be so many projects to do with construction. So we decided to also come up with a construction company. So we started Dandridge Contractors in 2010. So basically, I can say we've been expanding due to the good researches that we've been doing as a team.
Great stuff, Mr. Lubusha. Now, issues of business have to do by and large with capital. And a young person out there, wishing to get into business would probably be asking you right now, oh, Mr. Lubusha, you probably have enough money to venture into all these businesses, but as a young person wishing to start, how do I start? Where do I go to get financial help? Did you, for instance, approach any banks? And how easy is it if you ever got a loan? How easy is it for an ordinary person out there to access finances through lending institutions?
Thank you so much. I think I must be very sincere. I've really been helped a lot by banks. Okay. That's why I would like to encourage my fellow businessmen that we should ensure that we create a very good reputation with the banks so that the banks can keep borrowing us. I think when I was just starting my business, I had a certain capital, and my plans were more than the capital that I had. So we ended up thinking with my wife that we could possibly start with a financial institution, and we had engaged the two financial institutions, and they were quite handy. And from there, depending on the research that we do and the business that we would like to venture in, we kept working hand in hand with the banks. I'll give you a practical example. When we are starting Andrich Court Services, we did not have enough money to purchase two Marco Polos that we started with at a go. We only had money to purchase one. So we approached a certain bank, and that bank welcomed our proposal. So we went into 50%, and it was a 2-year loan facility. We saved it perfectly well. We completed the loan right on schedule. And many more other businesses we've been supported by banks and so on. So basically, I can say, yes, we have been supported by banks until we reached a certain level that we felt we had enough capital to keep running on our own. So I would like to encourage the young ones out there that do not be afraid of acquiring loans. But before you acquire a loan, do a proper research and ensure that the business that you want to venture in is viable. It's a business that is going to give you back your money and with profits. I can assure them that banks have been very helpful, but they only sponsor a business that they know that it will work out, and they only sponsor a businessman or woman they know that this businessman is noble and will be able to pay back our loans. Yeah.
Great stuff, Mr. Lubusha. Now, it is the period for registering as voters, and Zambia goes to an election in 2021. You are also Eastern Province Chairperson, aside being a businessman. How is the province faring in terms of voter registration?
The province is doing extremely well as we are speaking. I'll try to compare with the response in 2016 to that of this year. In 2016, I think we were at number 5, but now we are at number 3. From Lusaka, Copper Belt, we are the 3rd, and the 4th being Southern Province, but we have beaten Southern Province with over 100,000 votes. So the response has been overwhelming. People perfectly realize the importance of voting, and they have turned up in large numbers. However, the ECZ system was quite slow, and I want to believe we could have registered even over 1 million if the system was quick enough. But all in all, the response has been very positive and very promising to the people of Eastern Province. I would therefore like to encourage them to continue turning up in large numbers, and I'm happy that ECZ announced that there will be an extension. We would like to hear more better results as we begin the extended tenure for the voter registration. I'm from Eastern Province. By the time Patriotic Front was taking over power in 2011, we had very few schools in as many balls as possible, but I'm not saying we are done. We are still doing it, and we'll continue doing it because needs never end. And this province is quite big. We cannot do everything at once. But I want to believe we have done so much. We have upgraded so many primary schools to day secondary schools, and we have also upgraded the general hospital, the one that was Chipata General Hospital, to a central hospital, meaning we do not need to take our patients for specialized treatments to UTH, but we are able to to attend to them right here in the province. We also built a new hospital, Chipata General Hospital. We've done Vubwi Hospital. Then going forward, for one to be a successful businessman, as I mentioned, you need to be financially disciplined. You need to set goals, and you need to be marking yourself. You need each and every single year, or every half and every quarter, you need to analyze your performance in business. Then most importantly, you need to ensure that you keep doing research. You can do research on your own depending on the size of your company, or you can engage people to help you, organizations to help you in research. Research is very important because you are going to make the correct investment at the correct time. So you are going to make the correct investment at the correct time. So I think those are the major points that I would like to share with the young ones who would like to start their careers or would like to engage in business. And again, I would also like to encourage those who are in formal employment that let us not just be relying on our salaries. I think we should start from even the time that we are in formal employment. We can start a business and make an analysis. Where are you making more? Is it from your job or from your business? And what if that time, that 8 hours that you are giving your employer, if you gave it to your business, would it make sense, and so on? And once we do that kind of analysis and make decisions, you would find that we are going to reduce the poverty levels of our people in Zambia, because many of us are going to be employers and like being employees. We cannot all be employees, and we cannot all be employers.
That's true. And also just because you're also in the transport sector, and it is the period of, the festive season, we are going towards Christmas and New Year. What advice do you have for road users? How should they behave as we go towards the festive season?
I would like to plead with my colleagues in Zambia and Eastern Province that many are the times we have lost lives during the festive period. So let us ensure that we celebrate responsibly. Let us remember that we are government assets, and we have families to take care of, and so on. So let us ensure that we drink responsibly, and let us not drink and drive. And in other townships during this period, we even hear of murders, a lot of fights, and so on. So let us use Christmas to appreciate the life of Christ and the many blessings, and of course the fact that he died for our sins. So let us ensure that we spend more time at church than at drinking places. And for those who cannot afford to do away with drinking, I would like to appeal to them to drink responsibly and ensure that there is life after festive period.
Great stuff, our roundtable viewers. We have been streaming live from Eastern Province in Chipata, where we have featured Mr. Andrew Lubusha, proprietor of Andrich group of companies, and he is also the PF provincial chairperson for Eastern Province. Until next week, when we feature yet another exciting guest on the roundtable, it is good afternoon from us.